Major classification of testing methods. In previous lectures, we have seen how to test an application, whether you do manual testing or automation testing. Whichever testing you do, you should know what is the approach to follow when you are testing an application. That testing approach or testing methods is covered in this lecture. There are three well-known testing methods which are followed in the industry. One is black box testing, next one is gray box testing, and the last one is white box testing. First, let's see what is black box testing. Before getting into the technical aspects, let's start with the simple term black box. When I give you a black box, you will not know what is there inside the black box. While seeing from the outside, you know it is a rectangular box, it is a black box. You will not know the content of the box without opening it. Similarly, in black box testing, the tester will not be aware of the code contents inside the application. This is called as black box testing. Only the external behavior or external functionality of the application will be tested in black box testing. This testing is predominantly done by testers or business users. Who are business users? The users who are using the actual application to perform their day-to-day activities. They are called as business users. When you walk into an ICICI bank, you will see a set of people sitting in front of the computer. When you go approach any one of them saying you have an issue with your account, what they will do? They will just ask your account number, key in your account number in their screen, and all your account details will get displayed. They will not be sure from where these details are pulled. They will not be sure which database the program is referring to pull out these details. They will not be sure which programming languages their application is using to get the details. All they know is when I key in the account number, I should get the details. So similarly, this black box testing is when a tester inputs something, a desired output should be received. This is the only scope of testing the external behavior of the system. This testing is also called as closed box testing, data-driven testing, and functional testing. We'll see a very easy and a basic live example. Every one of us here knows driving. At least 90% of us knows driving. But the same 90% of us will not know how the car is actually working, how the engine is actually working. When you apply a brake, your vehicle should get stopped. That is what we know, but we don't know what is the internal behavior or internal architecture of the engine. So here the car is a black box and we are the testers or the users, however we can say. So we are driving a car is called as black box testing, as simple as that. Next comes is white box test. Before getting in detail regarding white box testing, this white box testing has different names. Glass box testing, transparent box testing, structured based testing, and so on. So let me give you the same example. When I take a glass box and give it to you, you know what is there inside the glass box because it is transparent. So here in white box testing, testing the internal architecture or internal code contents of the application is called as white box testing. Here the tester should have minimum knowledge on the programming languages. The tester should be smart enough to understand the code or to interpret the code, because here the testing itself is happening on the code, happening on the statements, happening on the conditions. So the tester should be aware of programming languages and the tester should be aware of what is the code and how to interpret the code. So where this white box testing is used? This white box testing is very well used in testing the algorithm based application. If you are from a computer science background, you would have heard this term algorithm. So if you are from a computer science background, you should also heard this term shortest path algorithm. Shortest path algorithm is the only technique which is used in Uber or Ola. So when you are in a location, you request for the cab. So this shortest path algorithm technique will find out whichever driver is there located near you and transfer your request to those drivers. Again, whomsoever picks up first, they will just come and pick you up and drop you in your desired destination. White box testing is well suited to test these kind of algorithm based applications. So testing a code is not a simple process. You cannot test the whole code at once. You have to break that into statements, you have to break that into conditions, and then you can test one by one. Whether you will test whether all the statements are tested, whether you will check whether all the conditions are covered. Conditions are nothing but true, false, if, else. These conditions are covered. A statement will have lot of true, false. Statement will have lot of if, else conditions. So these conditions will be taken separately and tested separately. These statements will be taken separately and will be tested separately. These are called as approach of white box testing. So this testing is predominantly done by both developers and testers, because developers, they have lot of knowledge in the coding part, and testers who have minimum knowledge, or at least who have knowledge to understand the code and interpret the code, will be doing this testing. This business users will not be involved in white box testing. Next is the example of white box testing. This is a small functional example for a fund transfer. When you need to transfer funds to your friend's account, what will you do? You will first click on the fund transfer button, and then you will select the from account. From which of your account, whether your savings account or whether from your current account, from which account you need to transfer. First you will select the from account, and then you will select the to account, if at all your to account is already added. If your friend's account is not added, you need to add it, and you cannot do it immediately. You have to wait for some hours for the account to get activated. So if you see this flow chart, everybody knows what is a flow chart, right? If you're from a computer science background, you would have heard this term flow chart. Flow chart is nothing but the flow of the program represented in a chart model. So here in flow chart, this rectangular box is called as statements, and the diamond box is called as conditions. Okay, so initialize fund transfer is the first step, and then the flow goes select from account, and then the flow goes to a condition. If your to account is added, if your to account is already added, if it is yes, select the beneficiary account. If it is no, then stop the program. This is the example of structured based white box testing. This is nothing but statement coverage, testing each and every statement. So here the statement, this is all together as a single statement, and your statement coverage is 1. Next one is gray box testing. From the figure you could see, gray box testing is nothing but black and white together is called as gray box testing. Here we will test both the external application and the internal code contents, external behavior of the application as well as the minimal internal code contents will be tested. Since this testing is the combination of both black box and white box testing, here the tester should have minimal knowledge on the code contents of the application, that is the minimum knowledge on programming languages, and also the logical or functional knowledge on the external behavior of the application. This testing is predominantly done by both developers as well as testers. Again, here business users will not be involved in this kind of testing. This testing is also called as translucent testing. We will always use this term called gray area. Gray area is nothing but the area in which we know what is there, but we don't know what is there completely. Here similarly, we know the internal code of the application, but we do not know it completely. The testers might be aware of the internal functionality or internal coding structure, but the tester will not be aware of the complete internal coding structures. So this is called as gray box testing, the gray area. That is the term why this is called as gray box testing. There is a live example. Before getting into the live page, I would tell you an example for gray box testing. We all use the HTML or CSS or coding, whatever the website development, right? So whenever you are developing a website, what will you do is you will write a code. When you will run it, you will see what is there in the website. So parallelly, you can do both. You can test the front end as well as you can work on the back end, and you can figure out, or you can play in the back end and you can see what is there reflecting in the front end. Let's see this. Here, whatever I do in the code, the same thing will be reflected in the web page. This is called as gray box testing. Both back end and front end will be tested.